medical school confronted everything believed about the universe. The deeper the study went into ophthalmology after encountering a blind patient, the more staggering the complexity of the human eye became. The number of cells in our heads involved in the vision process exceeds the number of stars humans have ever observed. Scientists estimate there are billions of trillions or trillions of billions of stars. Think about that. All these cells need to align in a specific sequence in just 9 months. The human visual system is so extraordinarily complex that it involves billions of cells working in perfect harmony, a masterpiece far more intricate than all the stars scattered across the sky. The human eye and brain together contain billions of cells and trillions of connections. An architecture so precise it suggests deliberate design. This eye surgeon, who was previously atheist, became convinced there must be a creator after witnessing how incredible and complex the eye's structure truly is. Growing up in China during that era, most people were raised without religious exposure. About 90% still identify as atheists today. The experience of a Chinese person raised as atheist differs somewhat from an American atheist culturally. The main difference is that most atheists in China never had the opportunity to learn about religious concepts or faith. They grew up in an educational system completely deprived of religious instruction. In countries like that, people never had the opportunity. Many of them, if given the chance to understand different worldviews, might embrace them readily, but they simply didn't have that choice. In America, atheists decide against belief. That's the distinction. The focus was entirely on science. After struggling through difficult times to have the opportunity to study, complete dedication went to scientific pursuit. But medical school created a crisis in that worldview. The more studying happened, especially after wanting to become an ophthalmologist following an encounter with a blind patient, the more incredibly complex the human eye appeared. The number of cells in our heads involved in vision, in capturing and interpreting images, is greater than the number of stars discovered in the entire universe. We each have that many cells in our brains. The number reaches into the trillions and trillions, surpassing the number of stars. The human mind can barely imagine such quantities. Vision is the most important sense, and this gets confirmed by human anatomy, physiology, and embryology. Half of the cells in our brains are involved in the vision process. This shows how important vision is. Through purely random collision, as evolutionary theory proposes, it would be impossible for all these cells to form in just 9 months, allowing a human being to develop such a complex structure with such precision. In 99.9% of cases, we are born seeing. These cells align in perfect and orderly fashion. If just a small portion deviated from the correct sequence, a person would be born blind, but in 99.9% of cases, we are born with sight. Random collisions between cells cannot result in such specific formation. That's when the atheist worldview entered crisis. Questions began emerging. How do you explain, from an atheist perspective, the complexity of the human eye? One day, a professor who was Christian but hadn't mentioned it yet, extended a lunch invitation. During lunch, he asked to look across the street and identify what was there. The answer came back: a car. Then he asked what the difference was between a car and the human eye. The response acknowledged the human eye was somewhat more complex. He then posed a thought experiment. Could you imagine a bunch of metal pieces scattered in the street coming together on their own by chance and forming a car? The answer was absolutely not. He then asked, what about the human eye? In that moment, a door opened. The realization emerged that the reason the human eye is so incredibly complex, yet still manages to form almost perfectly in just 9 months, is because it wasn't the product of chance. It was formed with a specific purpose. There is indeed a designer, a creator behind all of this. From that point of perceiving there was a creator to recognizing that creator's identity took several more years. The number of cells in our heads involved in the vision process is greater than the number of stars humans have managed to observe. Scientists estimate there are billions of trillions or trillions of billions of stars, even within the observable universe, which has a diameter of about 93 billion light-years. The human visual system is so extraordinarily complex that it involves billions of cells working in perfect harmony, a masterpiece far more intricate than all the stars scattered across the sky. The human eye and brain together contain billions of cells and trillions of connections. an architecture so precise it reveals signature characteristics of intelligent design. All these cells need to align in a specific sequence in just 9 months. Finding answers to fundamental questions that the atheist worldview simply couldn't explain led to understanding. The complexity of the human eye presents fascinating challenges to purely materialistic explanations. Charles Darwin, in his book On the Origin of Species written over 160 years ago, acknowledged that the weak point of his theory of evolution was precisely the complexity of the human eye. He recognized this limitation. It's almost like the Achilles heel of evolutionary theory. And curiously, centuries later, encountering this same reality while studying the human eye created similar questions. Today, from this perspective, there's a sense of blessing in being able to continue advancing knowledge about the human eye, taking this understanding as far as humanity has taken it. There's still much more to discover, but there's a privilege in deeply comprehending how the eye was designed. The truth is there are things science cannot fully explain, and all of them point toward patterns that suggest intentional creation rather than random assembly. The visual system represents one of the most sophisticated biological systems ever studied. The retina alone contains approximately 120 million rod cells and 6 million cone cells, each precisely positioned to capture light and convert it into electrical signals. These signals travel through the optic nerve, which contains over 1 million nerve fibers, each carrying specific information about different aspects of the visual field. The brain then processes this information through multiple specialized regions. The visual cortex occupies a significant portion of the brain, with different areas dedicated to processing color, motion, depth, and form. This parallel processing happens instantaneously, allowing us to perceive a coherent image of the world around us. The coordination required for this system to function properly is staggering. Consider the development of this system in utero. Within weeks of conception, cells begin differentiating and migrating to specific locations. Gene expression patterns activate in precise sequences, guiding cells to become specific types of neurons, photoreceptors, or supporting structures. The timing of these events must be exact. Too early or too late, and the system fails to develop properly. The lens of the eye must maintain perfect transparency while focusing light onto the retina. This requires specialized proteins called crystallins arranged in such precise configurations that they remain clear for decades. The cornea must curve at exactly the right angle to bend incoming light appropriately. The iris must respond instantly to changing light conditions, protecting the retina from damage while maximizing visual acuity. Each component of the visual system depends on countless others. The photoreceptors cannot function without the supporting retinal pigment epithelium. The optic nerve cannot transmit signals without myelin sheaths produced by specialized glial cells. The brain cannot interpret visual information without having developed the proper neural architecture during critical developmental windows. When examining such systems, questions naturally arise about their origin. The precision required, the interdependence of components, the complexity of developmental programs, all suggest levels of organization that challenge simple explanations based solely on gradual accumulation of random changes. This doesn't mean science cannot study these systems or make progress in understanding them. It means that the full picture may require considering multiple frameworks. The journey from questioning to understanding involves examining evidence from multiple perspectives. Anatomical studies reveal structure. Physiological studies reveal function. Developmental studies reveal how these systems emerge over time. Molecular studies reveal the genetic programs underlying development. Each level of analysis provides insights, yet questions remain about the ultimate origins of such complexity. What makes the visual system particularly striking is its optimization. Every aspect seems tuned for maximum efficiency. The retina is structured so that light-sensitive cells face away from incoming light, yet this seemingly backwards arrangement actually improves image quality by reducing light scatter. The distribution of rods and cones across the retina matches the statistical properties of natural scenes, maximizing information capture. These optimization patterns appear throughout biology. Hearts pump blood with remarkable efficiency. Kidneys filter waste while preserving essential nutrients. Immune systems distinguish self from non-self with extraordinary precision. Each system exhibits characteristics of sophisticated engineering, raising questions about the processes that generated such sophistication. The scientific study of these systems continues advancing our understanding. New imaging techniques reveal cellular structures in unprecedented detail. Genetic studies identify the molecular mechanisms controlling development. Computational models simulate how complex systems might evolve over time. Each advance deepens our knowledge while often revealing new layers of complexity we didn't know existed. For those studying these systems, the experience can be profoundly moving. Witnessing the elegance of biological design, understanding the precision required for life to function, recognizing the vast complexity underlying even simple acts like seeing, these realizations can shift perspectives fundamentally. They create space for asking bigger questions about origins, purpose, and meaning. The human eye stands as one example among many of biological systems that inspire wonder and raise profound questions. Whether examining the immune system's ability to generate billions of unique antibodies, the brain's capacity to store and retrieve memories, or the intricate developmental programs that build organisms from single cells, we encounter complexity that demands explanation. Different people reach different conclusions when confronting this complexity. Some see sufficient explanation in natural processes operating over vast timescales. Others see evidence pointing beyond purely material causes. The important point is that the complexity itself is real, measurable, and worthy of serious consideration from multiple perspectives. The opportunity to study these systems, to contribute to advancing human knowledge about them, to use that understanding to help others, represents a profound privilege. Understanding how the eye works enables treatments for blindness. Comprehending developmental programs allows intervention when things go wrong. Knowledge gained through careful study translates into practical benefits for humanity. This combination of wonder at complexity, rigorous scientific investigation, and practical application to help others creates a satisfying path through life. It allows both intellectual engagement with deep questions and tangible contribution to human welfare. It demonstrates that studying biological systems can be both scientifically rewarding and personally meaningful, regardless of one's ultimate conclusions about origins.